Hi there, 11 class. Welcome to my home. Today we're going to do the second part of the first lecture on college culture, and I would just like to um, take a look at what the culture is like at college, and how it may be different from high school or from some of the other environments that we're used to. Many times we are inside the walls of the school, and we've got our heads down, and we're working away, but we're not really noticing some of the customs, the rules, the social obligations or social rules that we've signed up for when we join the college culture. So it's really interesting to stop and take a look at that, what we've sort of invited ourselves to, what kind of party we've invited ourselves to, so to speak. So I would like you to pause the video for just a moment. Um, First, I want to go over some terms with you, and then I'm going to ask you to think about in what ways you have, or what are some examples of college culture. Okay, so first, I want to discuss what culture is, and culture is when a group of people share beliefs um, and ideas, customs, language. It can come down to what we wear. Every little thing um, is a group of people fitting together, belonging together, and agreeing upon certain values. Okay, so college is no different. We have the same set of well, not the same set, but we also have a set of values. We also have rules, and social rules, some that are not spoken, some that are just expected of students. Okay, so and one of the things I want you to try and define, or get examples for, um, are college norms. What are the norms of college? Norms are, again, any shared practices or social rules that we abide by. They might not have legal consequences. Actually, they don't. They have social consequences, meaning we can feel outcast or like we don't belong. We don't follow these unspoken rules within the college culture or within any culture. So what I want to do is trying to see if you can spend just a couple of minutes um, trying to come up with examples of what some college norms are. I'll give you one example. Um, we don't we don't use our phones in the classroom unless the instructor has asked for you to take out your phones. So if you can think of things like that, or another one, we show up on time. Okay, so what are the norms? And even more specifically, what are the norms of an online classroom? That's really interesting too. And then trying to find for yourself what you think college culture is like. Compare it to the working environment, high school environment, the family environment. What was your first kind of uh, reaction to the online setting? If you were on campus, what was the reaction to the actual physical campus? And then you can think of some specific examples, specifically in your notes underneath college culture. Let me see if I can get this shared so that you can see it here. Here we go. Okay, I'm in the notes on page 4, where it says college culture, about a little more than halfway down. The definition of college norms, shared ideas, beliefs, customs, rules, um, social rules that we abide by, knowing that the consequences have to do with a sense of belonging. Okay, and then think of some examples of college norms in high school versus college. What's the difference there? And then we'll move on to 3 qualities. So go ahead and pause the video. And then we'll come back and discuss a little bit. Okay. Did you pause? All right, good. So I'm fidgeting with the screen. I apologize. I'm still kind of navigating this system. So some examples of college norms, maybe you came up with things like handing your homework in, emailing the professor if you're going to be absent. For an online classroom, some of the norms that we have are making sure that you read instructions very closely. It would also be handing in your work on time, same as a face-to-face class. Checking the Canvas multiple times a week, more like every day, to make sure that you aren't missing anything. Another one might be responding to your classmates in a discussion board setting. These are all things that we do to make sure that we're belonging within the online classroom setting. Some of the differences between high school and college you may see, and it can be an online classroom or it can be a face-to-face classroom, but some of those differences that I hear students saying a lot are things like independence. There's more independence in college. Responsibility. You're responsible for your own learning and making sure that you hand in things on time and getting your questions answered. And also maybe that you are, the stakes are a little bit higher. Like college students are more invested in their education. Now, I'm not saying that that's kind of a general statement made by students. I'm not saying that high school students don't care about their education, but in college, you're paying for the units to be enrolled into a classroom. And so typically you're in college either exploring because you're looking to reach a goal, or you have a goal and you've created a pathway for yourself to get to that goal, okay? Now if we, before we go, I wanna go down here. So stay on your notes on page 5, where it says 3 qualities of college students. And the 3 qualities are grit, emotional intelligence, and integrity. These are things that I have included, or I have created, things that I've noticed about successful college students. Grit. Why don't I give you the opportunity to look up these definitions: grit, integrity, and emotional intelligence. You can look them up online through Google. You can look at them in a dictionary, but somehow come up with your own definition. Pause the video and then return when you're finished. Okay, so you hopefully have paused your video and are back with definitions. Let's see if they match up with the definitions that I am going to give you. Grit is another way of saying grit is perseverance, dedication, commitment. It's really sticking through the challenges and coming out the other end. Even when, and this persistence over a long period of time as well. That's an important aspect to grit, that persistence isn't persistence unless we have sustained it. We've stayed committed, okay? Another thing I want to say about grit is that when we think of endurance is another word that's sometimes used, but when we think of endurance, I typically will think of that word as being a little more negative, like we're just sitting and trying to bear through some really hard times. And while that may be true, I feel like grit also has a really positive aspect to it, and it's about bouncing back. It's about having the ability to bounce back when we lose focus or when we have doubts or fears, that we come back to this very grounded place to continue on in our education or in our challenge. Emotional intelligence, I'm not too worried about you having a straight definition for that yet, because that's coming in next week. You will get a clear definition of emotional intelligence, but do know that it is being aware of your emotional state as it changes and fluctuates, and also being aware of the emotional states or signs, social signs, physical signs of others' emotional states, so that we can create relationships with others that are healthy and are balanced, that we are putting our emotions in check. This doesn't mean to not have emotions. It means to notice them and to continue moving forward despite what we find. Or, even better yet, responding to our emotions in a healthy way. Okay? We will definitely get into that deeper next week. Integrity. Most students will say integrity is doing something even when others aren't looking. And that's a great starting point for the definition of integrity. I like to unpack this word because I feel like there's a lot more to it. And when we look at all the different aspects of integrity, we will be touching upon this very idea throughout the semester. Integrity is, yes, it's a kind of honesty and being genuine. So we are who we are in every space, with every person, true to ourselves, no matter what situation we're in, so that if no one's looking, we are still who we are. I also see integrity being very closely tied with grit and commitment, because part of integrity is following through with what we've committed. Now, things come up. I'm always leaving space for those times when we reevaluate commitments and we revise those commitments based off of new information or new experiences or things that are coming in that are helping us sort of adjust to our goals or to where we want to be. But the basics of integrity is that when we say we're going to be committed to something and no new information comes in and we aren't editing or revising our goals, our commitments, we stay committed with everything we've got. And really, integrity is a personal thing. It's really not about matching. Integrity is absolutely not about matching anybody else's expectations, but really staying true to oneself and being honest with oneself as we make choices and follow through with commitments. Okay? I'm going to flip over to the slides now because I just want to show you how these work together. So I'm going to head back over to the slide. Okay. On this slide, this is slide 10, I believe. Part of college norms, and I've broken up college norms into 3 categories: attendance, participation, communication. Okay, that within these 3 categories are several habits that we have, just to show you some of the norms. Now, what do norms have to do with integrity, grit, and emotional intelligence? When we are in integrity, when we are practicing grit, when we are aware that we really are learning perseverance, that's usually comes mid-semester, maybe midterms, finals. No, but it could be any point in the semester. And also when our emotions are rising because of challenges, we still want to concentrate on these college norms or these college habits. We still are following these social rules because we know that they're going to lead us to success. Okay, so for instance, attendance. Under attendance, in the category of attendance, I've just put a couple of things that we keep track of coming and go of when we're coming and going of our attendance. In an online setting, you're keeping track of what you're handing in, what you still have left to do. Your discussion boards, have you responded? Have you reached out to the instructor in quite a while just to check in? That you are following through with the lectures. Watching these videos is the same as attending a lecture, okay? So, are you watching the videos? Now, they might, the last thing you might want to do is watch a video lecture when you've got kids, you've got a job, you've got, things going on in your world, you've got homework to do. But integrity says that the person you are that is going to reach that goal and is actually on the way to reaching that goal of graduation or certification or whatever it is that you're doing, you are that person now. You just are. The thing that you are working towards is the certification. So integrity says, I am that person already. I already possess those qualities. Maybe I haven't practiced them. Maybe I haven't I haven't applied them to certain habits, okay? But you have them. You are that person. It's just sort of polishing up what you've got. Grit also says that things are challenging. I'm having a hard time balancing. I'm going to ask for help, but I'm going to attend. Okay, and emotional intelligence just says, wow, this is really stressful. I really, what is stress asking me to do? I think it's asking me to slow down and concentrate on one thing at a time. Okay, more on emotional intelligence later. So participation for an online classroom, although you're not sitting in the classroom and it's not about answering phones, although some of you are in face-to-face classes, so that is part of participation. Using your voice in the classroom so that your classmates and the instructor know your voice a couple of times throughout the semester. Completing your activities, those are all face-to-face things. For online setting, participation is the discussion board forum, is completing your work, is checking in with the professor. It's very similar to attendance, okay? For communication, it's part of college norms to email your instructor, attend your instructor's office hours, form relationships with your classmates somehow, forming study groups, making this campus or college experience something that you're comfortable with and that is setting you up for success. Also, part of communication, is asking for what you need. So checking in, this is emotional intelligence, checking in with what is it that I need? I'm stressed, or I'm really confused. I feel disappointed. What am I needing in this moment? What can I ask for that's going to help me move forward? Grit says, I'm going to move forward, okay? And integrity says, this is just me. I'm just asking a question because this is what I need and I value my needs. So I hope you understand a little bit more about how those qualities, integrity, grit, emotional intelligence, apply to the college norms. They help us to become comfortable or to familiarize ourselves with college norms. And hopefully college norms will, from here on out, as you see yourself following through with a lot of these norms, that they are leading you back to deepen your integrity and grit and emotional intelligence. Okay, I'm going to go back one more time. Actually, it's probably not one more time. But I'm going to go back to the notes because I'd like you to take a look at this last bit here under integrity, where it says college students take blank, okay? underneath integrity, one way you can really grasp the idea of integrity is to remind yourself of this statement, okay? College students take responsibility for their actions and beliefs. Another way we can look at this, okay? Another thing you can add in there is college students take responsibility for their failures and successes. Okay, it can be either or. In fact, I think in an old version of these notes, I had both of those there. But we can look at both of those. Actions, actions and beliefs have to do with our success and failures. Okay, the actions we take and the choices we make. Based on our beliefs about ourselves and the story we have about college, that lends itself to success and failure. Now, next week, we are definitely going to be talking about, and if you've read, when you read Mindsets, okay, the short chapter that's posted for you on Canvas, you'll see that beliefs, you'll see that failure is part of success. They are linked, they are siblings, they go together. You can't have light without dark, you can't have dark without light, okay? They are not as opposite as we think they are. They actually support one another really nicely, because every time we fail, we learn something, okay? And if we can let go of the emotional attachment to failure, if we can let go of the story of what it means about us and who we are and what we're capable of, and instead shift over to looking at failure as, wow, that was really hard. That was really hard. What did I learn in that situation that I can take moving forward? With that attitude, we are bound to find success. Okay, success needs failure. We need to fail in order to learn, to get us towards success. All right, back to the slide. If you could please follow along on your notes here, okay, where success in college, I'm about to move into this comparison of undergraduates and college graduates, okay? So if you could fill in the blanks, that would be wonderful as I go along. Do the screen share here. Alrighty. Okay, so in OnCourse, there was a study. If you're interested in knowing more about the study, I should have this in the slides. Please contact me. When we first created, a colleague of mine and I created these slides, it was an auditorium of people, and we just sort of talked about the study. But it is a study, and I can find the information for you if you'd like it, okay? A study was done or conducted, and college students were asked, students who were presently in college were asked what their definition of success was, or another way of looking at that is, how would they know that they were successful in college? And some of the answers that they came up with were things like, when I get all A's and B's, okay, and I'm really busy, or I have a lot of friends, or I've joined a sorority or fraternity, or my family's really proud of me. Another one might be winning awards, scholarships, championships for my athlete, for my my sports team. Excuse me, throat's dry. The thing, if we scroll down to the next slide, the thing about those, they are true. Those are wonderful successes. Okay, and I'm not disagreeing with those successes at all. Those are wonderful. Those are things to shoot for. In fact, if we are moving along in our journey and we're sort of persevering and we're still open-minded and we're wanting to learn through failure, those things happen. Those things come up for us, okay? But when we stop there only and we rely only on external validation for our success, and that's it, okay? That that somebody else notices my hard work. That's a wonderful thing to have happen. But if that's our only marker of success, we may be handing over our power and allowing external circumstances, people, um, experiences to determine our value and our success for us rather than owning or having the ability to decide what success means for us individually, me individually, okay, you individually. So this is on your notes. You can see, oh shoot, where did it go? There we go. Okay. Undergraduates tend to look outward for their success. Okay. Which means, I'm sorry. Sorry. Undergraduates tend to emphasize outer success, which means that that success is based on external validation or what others expect of us or what others' definitions of success are. Okay? So, next. Now, the same question was posed to graduates. Graduates are students who have completed college, okay? They've earned their degrees. And they were asked what to define success, or what were the markers of success for them? What does success look like in college? And they're looking back now, okay? So they've gone through the process. And their answers were very different. Their answers were when students focus on their learning versus the outcome. Okay, when they focus on the way they learn, their preferences in learning, what excites them, what makes them curious, how they like to learn, whether it's like listening to a lecture or it's more hands-on. But when they are focusing on the learning process versus the degree, the job, this is real success because they're actually growing and learning, okay, and then preparing themselves for when they're done with the college experience. Another success is majoring in what they're passionate about or what really excites them and lights them up. Being able to give back when students are teaching others around them just by example, possibly, or helping to serve their families. A big major part of success is discovering our own personal values, who we are, what angers us, what excites us, what lights us up. These are our values, our value systems, and college really has a way of pressing and kind of putting us in uncomfortable and yet also very fruitful and exciting experiences, learning experiences, so that we are forced to kind of take a look at who we are and what we value, how we like to learn, okay? So in other words, on your notes, college graduates, well, let me say this. In other words, college graduates look at a bigger picture of learning. They're not just looking at the test and the class, or the job or the degree, although those things are very important. They're not focused on just that. They're looking inward at their abilities and their strengths and weaknesses, and they're really kind of fine-tuning those things as they go through college, okay? So that when they do finish, they're prepared. So on your notes where it says college graduates tend to, you can put there college graduates tend to value inner success, okay, their own definition of success, what makes them feel strong and smart and valuable, okay? Which meaning success in college is based on personal gratification, okay? It's based on making me happy. That's a hard word to use because we're not always happy, but when we're using grit, when our grit skill is very strong, we know that even when we're not happy, we're doing good for ourselves, okay, for our future. So then the power shifts for graduates as they look back on college. It shifts from the hands of those around them into their own, as they're literally building their futures based off of what lights them up and really spurs their curiosity. So now you can pause the video, take a few minutes, and ask yourself, or maybe write just a few sentences on what success means to you at this point, okay, in your college experience. What's your goal? We're going to talk more about goals in the coming weeks, but if you can jot down just a goal that you know already it's very present in your mind. And then what does that success look like for you? Pause the video, write a few sentences, and come back. Meet me back here. We are almost done. Okay, hopefully you're back. Okay, so I hope you define success for yourself in a way that you can hold on to this throughout the semester as we move along and revisit this goal and revisit what success is for you and see if it changes throughout the semester. The more that you throw yourself into Learn 11 and really just apply yourself, these things have really funny, magical ways of showing up and changing and morphing, and really beautiful things can come out of it, okay? So back to the notes. What I'm going to ask you to do is, now that you've read the introduction to the Master Student textbook, Becoming a Master Student, you're aware of some of the successful habits or qualities of master students. They list them there for you. I would like you to look over those, and you can come up with some of your own too. It doesn't have to be the ones from the book, but it's a good starting point to look in the book. To write down 5 top qualities of an excellent teacher. Of a master student. And then from your own experience, what are 5 qualities of an excellent teacher that you really value? What do you need from your teachers? Okay. Next week, we will revisit this idea of the qualities. Okay, so I just want you right now to really get inquisitive and ask the questions and sort of see what comes up for you. In next week's lecture, we're going to apply these expectations of ourselves and of our teachers to emotional intelligence. And how do those two things go together? I will show you. So I will see you next week. I did want to say, if we go back to the slides, sorry, I'm bouncing around. I know it's my brain. It's the way my brain works. I apologize. Rewind the video if I'm bouncing around too much. I try to be linear, and it's part of my learning style. I apologize for that. But always ask me any questions, email me, write follow-ups, anything, so that I can clarify anything that you need, okay? I'm here for you. I just wanted to clarify that the last slide here of the lecture, you've already started. Okay, so don't worry about this. Is not another assignment. This is the assignment that you have already started, and many of you have already began to hand them in. Okay? All right, that concludes the first lesson. This one was a little bit of a long one. I'll try and keep them much tighter, but it's because we have that notes packet, and I want to make sure that you get to fill in the blanks there, okay? All righty, I'll see you later. Thanks for showing up and being so great. It's going to take me a minute here to figure out how to stop the video. All right, peace, bye.